Hi, everybody. Welcome to my very first LinkedIn Live. My name is Cynthia Pong, and thank you all for coming. I'm very excited. I also am learning how to use this platform, so please bear with me as I figure it all out. Thank you so much for coming, though. I'm really excited to have this shared space and time with all of you. And part of the reason I wanted to do this is to create a space for us all to connect in the chat, now, but also hopefully beyond that, to build community, share advice, support each other, because I really believe, a rising tide lifts all boats. So to that end, I would love if you could intro yourselves in the chat, which hopefully I can see here. Hey, Carla's here. Hi, Carla. Okay, good. I was worried I wouldn't be able to see the comments in the chat, but I do see them. So I'd love if we all could intro ourselves so that, we can help each other and get to know each other, because it's especially hard, especially this year, for us all to connect. And, I want to create more spaces for real non-transactional networking and stuff, so we can help each other. So if you could please put in the chat your name and your pronouns, if it's not already obvious from your handle, what you do, or your professional or your work identity, and then if you would like one ask of the group and one offer to the group. So for example, I would say I'm Cynthia. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a feminist career strategist who works with women of color. And what I would like to ask of you all is that you say hi in the chat, connect with each other, ask me questions in the chat too. This space and this time is also for me to help share more information and give you my thoughts on things. And then also tell me your requests for topics, and then my offer to you is that I've got a ton of free resources on career advice, career change, career strategy on my website. So please feel free to check that out. It's in this banner right here. My website's embracechange.nyc. So go there, go to the resources tab, and you can get a ton of free worksheets, different kind of activities to help with various things. And you can also check out my blog. I have a lot of blog posts about different topics that are relevant to us. Okay, so I'd love to see who is here with us today. Let me know. Let me put that other banner back up. Your name, pronouns, what you do, and if you have any asks or offers of the group. Okay. And also the whole point, obviously, of the asks and the offers is if you see somebody else who has an ask that you can help them with, then please connect, and hopefully you all can help each other and make that happen. And thanks, Carla, for joining us. I know Carla's been really excited about my whole journey about the LinkedIn Live stuff from the beginning. So I really appreciate you coming through. Keep introing yourselves in the chat. And now we have actually reached our first segment, which is, how are we doing? And yes, I have a soundboard. I got really excited about doing these. All right, so every day this year, it feels like we just get more and more terrible news. And I know there's a lot of anxiety and stress around us. It's really hard not to internalize that, So, and a lot of us on LinkedIn have been, hey, Tamara, thanks for joining us. Feel free to intro yourself in the chat as we continue this segment on how are we doing, which is a check-in, so I'd love to know how folks are doing, how are you feeling? And if you could put 2 words to describe how you're feeling today in the chat, that would be great. It's like a temperature check. My 2 words would be excited and nervous. So let me know how you're feeling, so we can all sort of help each other. And for anyone joining now, we're putting in the chat our name and pronouns, if it's not obvious from our handle, what we do, and if we have one ask of the group and one offer to the group. So that if, Carla had an ask, for example, that was something that I could help with, then I would put in, I would contact Carla and let Carla know, hey, I could help you with this. Yay, so Natasha Cohen is here. She, her pronouns. Oh, great, a career changer. So Natasha changed into software engineering. How can a newbie like myself stand out in a new industry? That's great. We can definitely talk about, you know, making yourself stand out from the pack and developing your own thought leadership and things like that. If we don't get to it today, definitely, Natasha, would probably make it into a future topic. But I think it'll weave into today's topic too. So we will definitely discuss that. Continue to let us know who's coming into the chat if you can. Thanks, Tamara and Carla and an anonymous LinkedIn user for joining. All right, so now we're reaching our second segment of the day, which is the topic of the day, which today is how to achieve career success. And I work with women of color. That's my specialty. That's who I put all my work and my advice and stuff out for. So we're going to be talking about specifically how to achieve career success as a woman of color. And there is one thing in like all of my work with nearly 100 clients one-on-one, hundreds of clients in group settings and workshops and courses. There's one thing that you must do if you want to be successful in your career, regardless of if you work in an organization, for-profit or nonprofit, if you run your own business, you have dreams of running your own business, or you're a career changer, you know? And the one thing is you have to adopt the right mindset. So I've worked with a lot of clients and I've started to notice that like certain of them really make like a ton of progress in our time together, and they're just super fast about you know, taking action on the change that we talk about and all this stuff. And the difference between those folks and the ones who are a little more you know, kind of feel like they're blocked or held back, it's their mindset. So let me get into it. First of all, to back up, as women of color, we have been socialized and given messages like our entire lives, right, about how we should be. We get so much unsolicited advice. Like, you should be like this, keep your head down and work hard, you know, don't try to rock the boat, just get a good job so that you can like support your family. We get all of these messages like constantly from our family, from media, from school, from our friends, right? So I'd love to hear in the chat if like you could share a little bit about the messages you received growing up as a young person of color, whether it was from your community, your family, like in the household, or larger society, because we get bombarded with like a lot of these messages. Put other people ahead of yourself, you know, don't be like thinking of yourself first, that's selfish, things like that. So let me know in the chat if any of that resonates with you, or if you received other messages as you were growing up as a person of color. Then, right, as we're growing older, we enter like the school system and we go to college and like maybe grad school for some of us and things like that. And that's a place where especially we are made to feel like we don't belong, because maybe we're like the only one, you know, the only person of color even in some cases, or the only woman, or the only woman of color. And so that can bring up a lot of these feelings of like, I'm not supposed to be here, I'm just a diversity hire, you know, I'm an imposter. This is where a lot of imposter syndrome stuff can come from. And we feel like we're less than, we don't belong. So somebody said in the chat, like growing up, they were told, do something that matters, you know, do something that you want to do. So that's like a pretty healthy and like positive message, but like do something that matters could be laden with a lot of judgments and stuff too. So maybe the person who said that, or the people who are saying that, like they define what matters or doesn't matter, right? And that can, your concept of what matters may or may not line up with that. So yes, anyways, if there's any other messages that you all received growing up, like let me know in the chat. But pretty much like it's a lot, right? Like we've had to absorb a lot. We've had to immunize ourselves from a lot, but like sometimes these negative messages especially get internalized. So Tamara says, I was always told to work hard. Let me see if I can show this. I was always told to work hard, don't speak up too much, and come across as the angry Black woman. Wow, Tamara, that really hits home because like I have so many clients who've experienced that. And also, this is not even a joke at all. It was like just working on my latest talk about racial gaslighting in the workplace and talking about how this being labeled as the angry Black woman or being made to feel like you're the angry Black woman is 100% a form of racial gaslighting in the workplace. So thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's a horrible thing to have to grapple with. Okay, so wait, let me see what else I've missed in the chat. Welcome to LaShonda, feeling unsure. Okay, I hear that too. LaShonda is a litigation records and file clerk, thinking of a career change, something transferable into the medical career. Very cool. So if anyone has connections in the medical field and maybe wants to connect with LaShonda, that would be super cool. Catherine, hi. Catherine's one of my friends who really helped me out with my book, Don't Stay in Your Lane. So Catherine works in government, also as a career changer, interested in narrowing down on a specific role. That's Catherine's question. And then McKinney is here, one of my longest friends from college, researcher, physician, public health specialist, is learning always. Also, McKinney, I'm going to say, is available for public speaking engagements about various topics in public health, including trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, labor trafficking. So let McKinney know if you need a speaker on that. Carla also, yay, LaShonda. Okay, I'm going through all the comments at like a random pace. Carla's interested in financial independence for everyone. Yes, me too, especially women of color. I want us to like have financial liberation. Insurance protection, retirement strategies, business strategies. Carla's ask is open conversations, no shop talk. Second, I get to know your business. Third, you get to know mine. Then we find out who our perfect referrals are. Cool, very specific. I love that targeted ask. So if folks are interested in, it sounds like actually productive, like networking, generative networking, definitely contact Carla. Tamara works in QA, quality assurance, I believe, for a biopharma company, and has an interest in fashion. Cool, wants to start their own personal stylist business. That's very cool. Tamara, I'm going to say, check out my stylist, Nana Badu. You can PM me for Nana's info later. But definitely I think Nana could be a great resource for you. Okay. McKinney says, lol, thanks. You're welcome. And there's another question about how do we proactively advocate for ourselves and peers. I'm going to flag that for a future topic. Okay. So we were talking about mindset, right? And I was talking about all these messages that we receive, whether we want to or not. And I'm telling you, no matter what field you're in, if you're trying to change careers, if you've already changed careers, you're trying to get a foothold in the new career, you must be able to believe that you can do this shit. All right? None of this like, I don't know if I really can do it or not. Like, you can. If you found your way to this chat, if you follow me on this platform or like you know me in like real life or some other place, like you know that I'm always about this, which is that you need to believe in yourself before other people will believe in you. If you believe, they believe. It's something that I learned from when I was a public defender and practicing lawyer, like doing jury trials and stuff. Like you must give off a very clear, unequivocal message that you belong, that you can be the top of this field, you know, that you can learn whatever it is that you need to learn to make it. So how though, right? If you know me, you also know that I'm like super into just like really practical nitty gritty tips. So it's one thing to be like, okay, I know I have to like change my mindset from like a negative one to a positive one, but like how, right? So let me give you some examples. Here we go. Yes, love it. Believing in ourselves. It, you know, it is, and it sounds like so corny to say that, but it actually is really true. And if I show you like some of these negative thought patterns that I see in my clients and stuff, and how we help them reframe from the negative one to the positive one, or the fixed mindset one to the growth mindset one, the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset. One, it's easier said than done, and two, it's really common. But like if you unlock this for yourself, like your career is going to like explode in a really good way. So I want to definitely talk about this, and any questions, like pop them in the chat again. Okay. So, it's all about developing a habit for yourself, developing a habit for yourself to switch your thoughts when you're having the negative mindset thoughts, like to then translate them and reframe them into the positive ones. And the first thing you have to do to develop a habit is to remember. So I will say this again later, hopefully I'll remember. But making reminders for yourself is totally something I work with my clients on. So like, you know, we talk about a strategy, right? And then next time I'm like checking in, how did that thing go? Like, oh, I forgot. Okay, so like, not only do you have to learn the strategy, but you have to remember to implement it. So whatever works for you in terms of reminders, like maybe that's putting a recurring reminder every day into your phone, scheduling it in like to your morning so that you remember, putting up Post-its. I'm like really a big fan of visual cues. So I have like a lot of notes and stuff to myself. So think of what works for you, and you're going to make yourself a reminder to like shift your mindset whenever this happens for you. So examples of the negative mindsets, right? I can't do this. I'll never find a job that I like. I'm too blank for this. Like, I'm too old for this. I'm too unqualified for this. All of those type of thoughts, you can probably fill in the blank yourself. I won't be able to change careers. I'll never get a promotion. I'll never make the amount of money that I want. So those are very common thoughts that a lot of my clients and a lot of women of color have, and we have to unpack those and reframe those as the positive corollaries. And listen, if any of these, if you have your own versions of the negative ones, put them in the chat, and then I'll help you come up with a reframe for them. So let me put that one up. And before I talk about the positive reframes, hey, Carlene, welcome. Carlene does brand partnerships, line development, creative projects. Ask is for a career recruiter intro into sustainable fashion. Very cool. And offers resume reviews, book PDFs, and learning circles. So contact Carlene for any of that. LinkedIn user who I think is Bikini. My mother said a version of this: fake it till you make it. She didn't invent it, of course, but yeah, dress your part, embody the role. Totally. It is a little bit of version of fake it till you make it. And you know, we can talk about this too, because there is a bit of tension about like, you know, is fake it till you make it like too much? Like, does it come across as something that you're really just faking, and does that end up backfiring against you? So it varies a little bit from person to person, but generally speaking, I am a supporter of that. Fake it till you make it. Okay, so here are some neutral or positive reframes, right? And feel free to take any of these and adapt it to your own situation. I'll do my best, and that will be enough. I know things suck right now, but they'll get better. I will keep trying my best. I know that each day brings me closer to my goals, even if it doesn't feel that way. I can become my own boss. I trust the timing of my life. I will remember that things could turn out even better than I ever dreamed. So let me scroll back and see some that we've had in the chat so I can like do some for you. So Tamara had said, you know, you're always told to work hard, don't speak up too much, and come across as the angry Black woman. So maybe one is like, I can advocate for myself and assert my rights and my boundaries. And people will accept that. Let's see. What's another one? If you're feeling unsure, like LaShonda had said, so like, I accept that right now I'm feeling uncertain. I know that this will not last forever. And like, I will find my way, you know. Or another one I really like is like, the path is made by walking. So this is one that I can't remember the attribution of like who said that, but it's a quote that I like so much that I had put it in my book. but it's something my former therapist had said to me, which is, like we feel like we have to know like what's coming and like which way to go and what turn to take and stuff, but you don't really. You really just have to put one foot in front of the other. And that's how you make your own path. So something like that. And then let me circle back for the final one to Natasha, like how can you stand out in a new industry? Like I'll find a way to make a name for myself in software engineering. So these are things that you can repeatedly tell to yourself as often as you, yay, Rhonda loves that quote. Also, Rhonda is my public speaking coach who I was just working on my racial gaslighting talk with. Rhonda's awesome. Please follow her. She drops many, many gems. Yeah, so remember these things, write them down for yourself, say them to yourself, like record yourself on a voice memo and listen to it. All of these things will help you when you are facing adversity, obstacles, barriers, challenges, whatever negative shit you encounter in the workplace, because as women of color, you know that we have to deal with a lot of it. So that is my thoughts on the topic of the day. And if anyone else wants me to do a special reframe for them, like pop it in the chat and I can do it. Also, like any questions you have, like now's the time to ask them before we wrap up with a little third segment that I have. So I'll give you all a minute to let me know if you have any questions specific about this. And I'm also going to write down those topic requests for future. As you all digest. I wish I had some thinking music on this thing. Do I? Not really. Okay. Let me grab these notes for next time. Oh yeah, and McKinney seconded my Nana request. Also, don't forget, if you saw somebody else who had an ask that you can help them with, or you like know some good connections for them, please connect. Because like we have limited spaces to connect with each other these days, and especially here like this, I want to make this like a really low-key and safe place for us to talk to each other and help each other out, because you get more when you give too. And I know I don't have to tell you all that, because as women of color, we're also socialized to be overgivers. Okay. So we have now reached the third and final segment of my live, which is Victory of the Week. I really hope you all can hear those sounds, because I'm thoroughly enjoying them. Okay, so I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. Can someone give me a fake name that I can use to refer to them in the chat? This is a client I've worked with for about a year. And they work in a very, very, very male-dominated industry. Yes, very male-dominated still. And so here, let me think of a Carla. Okay. All right, let me think of a, did somebody give me a fake name? Jeopardy instrumental. Okay, love this. Martina, great, thank you so much. So we'll call my client Martina. Martina works in a super male dominated industry, and where it's literally, it's not even like vertical segregation, like all men at the top and like all women at the bottom. It's not even that. It's literally, there's probably 3 women, including white women, for like every 100 men. So that's super, it's just, and they've been in this industry for like 2-3 decades. It's been a long time. And we have been talking about like some of these white men who had been giving Martina like a really hard time. Anytime Martina wanted to like put forth a new policy or like do something that would make things more accessible to people who weren't white men, like blocked every way. Like, can we get funding for childcare? No. Can we do this other initiative to talk to POC students at these schools or whatever? No. And so we were talking about this stuff for a long time, and I was helping Martina with using like negotiation strategies to have these conversations as problem solving conversations. And anyone who knows me also knows that I always recommend for anything negotiation, read the book, never split the difference. So I'll give that to you too. And Martina was like using the strategies from that book that we also talked about, like asking a lot of questions, doing mostly listening of them, framing things in like how and what statements, like, okay, what can I do to help you with this? Or like, how can we get to this goal of this, you know, having a successful program, what have you. And I hadn't heard from Martina like in a while about like how things were going, but we had a session last week and literally she said to me, yeah, and also, you know, the guys that were giving me like the hardest time, I make them solve my problems now. And I almost cried. I was so shocked and so happy. Like I had almost even given up on Martina making any progress with these like old school white dudes. But she told me how like each one of them, you know, Ken or Dave or whatever, like they do her work for her now. And it's like so badass. And I was so happy to hear that. So the question I'll leave you with is, how can you embody the spirit of Martina's victory as you move forward with the rest of your week? That's what I'll leave you with. How can you embody that energy, that spirit, and adopt it into your life for your own victories? Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to keep any of these segments, to be totally honest, but like if you liked them or if you hated them, PM me and tell me, and I will change this to however you all like. But we're coming up on the end of the half hour. I also like, if we continue to do the victory of the week, for example, I would love to share your victories so we could celebrate you since you all are here. And also answer like your questions. I'll go through my screenshots and see what other topics I can do for next time. So we have reached the end. Thank you, Catherine, for saying that you understand the male-dominated thing, like working at the Carpenters Union. The trades, yeah, it's very male-dominated. So in any event, I hope that this was helpful. I hope you have some nugget that you can take with you, and that you all continue to connect. I love this sharing of contact info and things in the chat. I'm not sure if I will do this again in 1 week or 2 weeks, but if you have a preference, please tell me right now in the chat. And you can also always private message me too on LinkedIn. The easiest way to find me is Google my name, Cynthia Pong, and let me know what you would like me to do for future lives like these, because I really want to make a space where we can like safely connect with each other and help each other in our careers. Okay, and then the last thing is, if you want to come back next time, it'll either be in a week or 2 weeks, to be determined. But tell your friends, if you think there's someone else that you think would benefit from this type of live, like they are welcome. And I will always center women of color in what I talk about. However, like if there's other people who are, you know, want to come and they're supportive allies, then they definitely can. All right. Thank you all so much for coming. Thanks, Alana, Catherine, Carla, McKinney, Carlene. Ooh, we got a lot of names that sound a little similar here. Rhonda. Thank you all. LaShonda, Tamra. It was really, really great to have all of you for my inaugural LinkedIn Live. Thank you, Carla, for the congrats. Carlene, yeah, it's great to push us to be bold. High five. Cynthia, to your LinkedIn. High five. Thank you. And I hope you all have a powerful rest of your week. All right, I'll take us out with this last sound effect. Hey, Brandon. Bye, everybody.